Very interesting day for COSM at the end of the day today. Let's go ahead and find out exactly what's happening. What is up, you guys? This is ARCa coming at you with a COSM on this fine Thursday night. Let's go ahead and do some technicals, raw price action, and I actually do have some statistical metrics for us to take a look at. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video with a friend so that you and them could consider joining our trading community in Discord called ARCa. With that said, let's go ahead and dive right in. Okay, so we are looking at COSM on the 30-minute immediate short-term time frame. We're going to start this analysis in the immediate short term so that we can gauge some type of understanding as to what the Crypstex indicators are giving us. So they are flashing sell signals. In particular, this in this candle, it flashed it right at the opening. So that would be let's see, flashed at about 31.26 at the opening of that candle. 31.26. We got a massive downside move that actually pushed us below the 13-day exponential moving average, and now the score, the cumulative statistical score for the bears versus the bulls is actually now favoring the bears at 56%, bulls sitting at 42%. Okay, so the enhanced MACD is also flashing that signal from the opening of that same candle from earlier this, from the after hours, from the beginning of the after hours trading today, today being the 15th of December. So that actually flashed that sell signal, and it has honored that downside thus far. Now let's go ahead and open up ARC and see if that's also suggesting a sell signal as well. So let's go ahead and click that one more time, and okay, there we go. Okay, sorry about that. I'm not sure exactly what happened. Okay, so yes, ARCa actually signaled that short, the sell signal right at that same candle after hours today, and it has since realized that now the exponential moving averages that gauge that directional wave for the asset from the ARCa indicator in particular is actually significantly pivoted towards the downside. So there could be a downside continuation in the immediate short-term time frame, but we can actually validate that as there is a lot of trickery within the chart now. I understand that there was the reverse split announcement. Please let me know in the comments below if that's actually a factual thing, if that's going to happen. Okay, so now this is the daily time frame that we're going to be looking at here, and this was the chart where we said that we needed. This is particular to the broadening descending wedge, right? Sorry, let me go ahead and just make sure that everybody is in the same page. So yes, this is regarding the broadening descending wedge, of which we've already completed 3 tests of the golden rule of 3 before that capitulation event, and then a true test upon number 4, which would be considered the true breakout test. So we've actually been making those the tests of the newly converted resistance into support, which is the top trend line of the broadening descending wedge, and today actually fulfilled that downside that we were looking for. You know, I was looking at about 18 cents as the bottom target. We did notice that there were a couple other little gaps on the way down, particularly in the 12-hour chart. So if we look at the 12-hour chart, you'll actually catch this gap right back here, which consists of the wick low of the 12-hour November 21st candle and the wick high of the November 18th candle. So that gave us a range between 1447 and 1551. Another thing to note is actually based on the Wednesday's daily candle closure. Let's go back into the daily chart here. Based on yesterday's daily candle closure, taking a Fibonacci retracement inversely actually takes us to 1562, which is right at the top of that 12-hour gap, and we have since also closed the tiny little 1 cent gap that we caught, that consists of the wick low of the candle from November 22nd and then the wick high of the candle from November 21st. So we did close that gap, and we actually came and used the 2-spot 618 at 1562, which is the very top support of that gap from the 12-hour chart. So it has, it essentially did what we were talking about a potential terminal shakeout, which is what Wyckoff theory calls as a spring. So, or I mean, the thing is that it did bounce, but now there is a yes, it met the target. It met the target that we were looking at from 50 cents. I get it. Now the problem here is that the target was not met via the playbook. It was met by a psychological component, which is the bad news. Whether it's true or whether it's not, which I'm pretty sure that it is. I mean, that kind of news doesn't really come out and not be true, you know. So if I mean, I'm still saying if, regardless of my opinion, but yeah, if it is true, it's based on a psychological factor now. So that factor actually pushed the price below our expectations and bounced right back to where we thought we were gonna end up in the first place, which is around 20 cents. The closure, let's go ahead and just pull up that 12-hour candle from today. And it looks like the closure of this candle is actually at 2010. So yeah, it's right around the areas that we were looking at from days and days ago. So yeah, I do have to warn about this, that this may fuel a continuation to the downside. If there is a reverse split in the talks, that's not good for any asset. So that, and I've also mentioned, this was actually to the bullish side, but I also have mentioned that Elon Musk can buy this asset for example, right? And he could essentially just invalidate the downside thesis and just send this thing straight to the moon. So in this case, we actually got the inverse. So we actually did get a bad news catalyst invalidating our upside. So it looked like it was going to try to potentially do that little pump to the upside. We were starting to get a little hope here and there from earlier today, but then that news catalyst came out and it essentially invalidated that. So now I did run. I want to talk about the statistics on this particular asset. So I did run a back test last night. I'm sorry, today after the price action, but I did run it per the closure of the daily candle, which does not include the after hours trading. So that could potentially present a gap for the opening of the after hours trading tonight. So the thing is that the statistics came back with something very, very, actually, it was very good. Now I'm not sure what to make of it anymore because of I have to see what happened in the after hours, particularly to the daily chart. The thing is that when you're looking at a daily chart, it's not going to give you the after hours activity. You're going to catch that after hours activity in 12 hours and below. Okay, so in this case, I did notice that we started to pivot from momentum towards the upside, and it's already making a bullish cross over that moving average. And the volatility component, which is actually, for the new viewers, this is volatility you're looking at, represented by this indicator BBWP right over here. So I started to notice that we actually started rejecting the contraction phase, and we actually started an expansion phase right back to the upside while the momentum indicator started pivoting towards the upside. That's usually a signal. So I ran a back test, and the back test was performed by hand, and that's what you're looking at here. Okay, so now let's go over that. Criteria, just so that we can know or be in the know, regardless of what's going to happen in price action. So upon running the back test, which actually consists of any time volatility has actually surpassed or met the 90% critical volatility zone, which I can consider to be anything beyond this trend line here, which is the 90%. So anything within the 90 percentile or at 90%, I've taken note of that iterations. Let me just zoom in just a little bit. I've taken note of that iterations duration, the upside thrust, and any time that both volatility versus momentum profile have actually guessed the upside correctly versus incorrectly. So it actually came back with very nice metrics. So let's go over them now. Out of a total 35 iterations throughout the daily chart of COSM during its entire trading history, I've actually calculated those 35, and 29 were correctly guessed towards the upside. Six were guessed to the downside. That gives us an averaged upside accuracy of 82.857%, with an average upside thrust of 75.573% over the span of just about 13 and a quarter days. This is the proof of work right down here. So with an 82, pretty much 83% upside accuracy to a 75% move to the upside. That's incredible. So, like I said, these are statistics. They're not certainties. We actually do need to practice some patience with this, as we now have that psychological component applied. So, if we were to apply from the closure of the daily candle, not from the closure of the after hours market, that 75.57% actually takes us directly to what I was talking to on the live stream for the members last night. I actually said that we could actually potentially make this trip to the way up and face some resistance at this previous resistance zone that we've been looking at for quite some days now. That 75.57% took us right to that support bottom, which is very curious, and it's actually an area likely of inflection. So there's plenty of other candles that have actually used it as a form of support and or resistance, you know. So now in this case, like I said, we need to see how the volatility and momentum reacted towards the downside with the opening of tomorrow's daily candle. So that's gonna the criteria, or that upside, is going to be contingent upon that reaction. So it's most likely not going to be good. It probably is going to invalidate it, and it probably is going to invalidate it, thus creating a seventh iteration to the incorrect side. But just so we know, the data is suggesting this now. So I can't take it as serious as I would like it to be, as I would like to. You know, I'm sorry, I'm a little. It's just this actually caught everyone off guard, and things were actually looking very good for COSM. The setup, the play was actually looking very well until this just massive, terrible news that we weren't expecting. The CEO was always saying that he was going to try to, you know, stay away from the reverse split at all costs. Obviously, that's not true. So now let's go ahead and just move on to the last part of the analysis. So I'm not going to go through every RSI time frame on this because we need to see how tomorrow is gonna pan out. But yesterday's three drives of did we actually talk about this yesterday? Well, yeah, we did. So these three drives of phantom regular bullish divergence, which is located here. Divergence is usually the opposition of price action versus momentum. In this case, momentum being represented by relative strength index, RSI. We actually did catch three drives, and they were already in play to the upside until that bad news catalyst invalidated it entirely. So this is it's a little beside the playbook now, and also beside statistics. So we need to see just what is going to happen with the candles tomorrow. Okay, I apologize for not being able to give you exact direction at this point, but considering that the downside is visible from every other time frame. For example, the bi-hourly RSI is literally in this zone right now, right here. So it's very much in the grips of the bear strength percentile. Now the 6-hour RSI has also surpassed the shallow areas of the bear strength percentile, and now it's definitely in the grips of it. Moving average, represented by this pink line right here, 14-day period, is above now the RSI signal, which is a purple line, which is bearish, and the daily is very much indecisive, giving us a little bit of a hint with the moving average towards the downside, but nonetheless, there's a lot of indecision and there's a lot of nervousness happening within this asset. Please know that I'm not a financial advisor. Take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as a form of entertainment only. Okay, I need you to do your own DD and everything will be okay. But if anyone did take, which you shouldn't, if anyone did take my suggestion to go in at 18 cents, I would highly consider potentially removing risk or liquidating the position, as I'm not sure what the psychological factor is within this now. We actually need to see what happens tomorrow. And this is unlike any other video that I've created for COSM, where I've shown you certainty as to where things can go. But remember, I did mention a couple of videos ago that the sentiment was actually coming away or going away from COSM, thus allowing the playbook rules to apply a little more, right? So in this case, psychology has been turned up to 11, so now we are in a very precarious situation. So let's move accordingly. Make sure to manage your risk and all that good stuff, right? But yeah, I think that if you guys have any questions or concerns, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I know there's a lot of people reaching out to me now, and it's getting a little harder and harder for me to reach out, but I will definitely try, and I try my best to reach out to everyone, okay? So also, please don't fall for the scams that are from the ARCa imposters down there saying to WhatsApp me. I don't have a WhatsApp. I'm not going to WhatsApp anybody. If you're listening to this video right now, I'm not going to consider joining WhatsApp, and if I am going to join WhatsApp, it's to a very particular couple people. So and I think you know who you guys are, so please just know that I'm not going to accept any WhatsApp calls whatsoever. Okay, so I think this is a pretty good place for me to leave off the video, and I wish you well. I wish you a very good night, and I will catch you at the bell mañana. Adios.